Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Snappy Cappy. So I had a little idea for the podcast, and every month at the end of the month, we talk about things that happened throughout the month, things that we enjoyed, just to share a little bit more about our lives and what has been going on throughout the month.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you kind of want to start.
Okay. So the first question is, what is the funniest thing that happened to you?
Honestly, I can't think of anything.
I can't really think of anything either. I might remove that question just because it's kind of hard to keep track of things that happen.
Well, I guess one of the funnier things that happened, I found it kind of funny, is that I actually ended up taking Nutmeg to the college. And the people that I thought would freak out with her actually didn't. And I found it kind of hilarious because, one of my colleagues, they were like, "Oh, I absolutely hate snakes." And at the very end of it, she didn't want to let go of her. So that I found that pretty funny.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I think it's really cool that throughout the time of us and you having Nutmeg, that we've kind of helped people get rid of their fear of snakes through her.
Oh yeah, it's more than a handful, definitely.
Yeah, so that's really nice. She's like a
therapy snake.
yeah, she's like a therapy snake, which is really cool. But yeah, I can't really think of anything for this question. Like, I know there are plenty of funny things that happened throughout the month. I just can't think of anything that happened.
That's okay, especially like with your job now. It's definitely a lot busier. So
Oh yeah,
it's a lot
definitely.
harder to remember things.
I'm like, I know there are funny things that have happened at work also, but I'm just like, I can't think of that.
Oh, didn't you mention that you guys have like a Gen Z humor thing every so often in like meetings?
Oh yeah, so for every weekly meeting that we have, somebody shares a video um that includes Gen Z slang. And um now that you mentioned that, one of my coworkers shared a video, and it was like a 2-minute long clip, and it was of a court proceeding, but everyone in the courtroom just spoke strictly in Gen Z slang. And it was so weird and so confusing because there are even some things that I didn't even know, but it was
Oh, okay.
younger Gen Z thing.
Oh gosh.
So I'm
I think that'd be pretty funny just to watch. So in the event, if you're looking for something funny, I think that clip would definitely be worth it.
yeah, I would have to find it and show it to you because it was just so dumb,
I'd
but it
love
was
to
so
see it.
funny at the same time.
I'd love to see it.
Okay, so the next question is, which books did you read?
This is gonna be strictly
This
you,
is a me
because
question.
I don't read very many books. I think the last book that I read cover to cover was, the book that you published. So
Uh-huh. So I read 2 books in February. Those are rookie numbers. I need to pick up those numbers.
gotta pick up the numbers.
Um, but the first book, which is really boring probably to some people, was the New Mexico Notary Primer.
Okay.
So it essentially just explains, what you can and can't do in New Mexico as a notary. Explains kind of what would happen if you are kind of careless and aren't paying attention to procedure. Um, what can happen if you get called to court for signing something that you shouldn't have, and blah blah blah.
Fun times.
So that was very interesting. There's a lot of rules that I didn't think that existed. So I'm like, okay, I have to keep this as a reference. So every time I sign something, I know what process I need to be using and all of that.
Absolutely, definitely useful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the second book that I read was 109 East Palace, which is essentially a book that talks about the inception of Lanel and how
Okay.
it came to be and what the purpose was and how they ran things back then. And something that I found very interesting about that book is like, you know, how they call New Mexico the land of mañana.
I don't think I've heard that one,
You've
but
never
I don't think
heard
I've ever heard that
you've
one. No.
never heard it, but it's like New Mexico time, how everyone's late for everything all the
Oh
time.
gosh. It's funny because I've lived my entire life in New Mexico and I have never been on New Mexico time. I've always
Yeah.
been early to everything. I don't understand how people can be late to everything.
Yeah, I'm like, I know it's common in other states, in other parts of the world, but seriously, everyone, like almost everyone in New Mexico is always late for everything. They're late for work, they're late for school, they're late for
Meetings, whatever the
meetings,
case.
whatever. Like, it's always going to happen. If you think something's going to start at like 1:30, no, it's going to start at 3 because everyone's just going to show up late.
Oh gosh, I hate that.
But even way back then, when they were building the labs, that was also a thing. It was very interesting how also they were talking about like the delivery drivers and like quote unquote taxi drivers and stuff, which is like pick up scientists and just like take them to the middle of nowhere and drop them off.
Oh gosh. That's not good.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, so New Mexico has always been this way. Good to know. But yeah, it was a really interesting book, and it kind of like makes you think about how in dire circumstances like people won't think about the future repercussions of what they're doing.
Which could be pretty bad,
Yeah.
depending on what it is, but it typically not a good thing.
Yeah. So it's kind of just like about that. That's very interesting.
Right on.
I learned a lot.
Always good to learn.
The next question is, which movies did you watch? We're not really movie people, so I might change this question a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
So what things have you watched that you enjoyed this month?
Uh, the only new thing that I've actually watched is Dragon Ball Daima. So I'm not entirely sure where it fits in the timeline. I don't know if it's before Dragon Ball Super or after Dragon Ball Super. It's a mishmash of things right now because I'm still pretty early in it, but it is very interesting. Like all the main characters get turned into children and yada yada yada, all that fun stuff. So yeah, I think it's a lot of fun to watch just to see, a fresh coat of paint on a very repetitive anime.
Yeah, that is also the only new thing that I've watched this month. And the first couple of episodes are very boring.
Yeah, typically with the Dragon Ball series, the first few episodes just to like set it up, they're just, oh my god, it's almost impossible to watch them. Just how little interest there is.
Yeah.
It's
And from like the newer episodes that I've watched slash listened to, because it's been more me listening to it, it does pick up a lot, but I keep falling asleep. And it's not because like I don't like it or anything, but it's just like it relaxes me, so then I pass out.
Yeah, it's not as, if I could say, it's not as like explodey so far as like Dragon Ball Z or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely say it's worth a watch.
Yeah, I think so too, especially because it's like, it's so cute seeing Mr. Popo as a little baby. Well, not like a baby, but, a child.
Yeah.
He's so cute. They're all so cute. Also, I've don't like the way that they're presenting Bulma and Vegeta's relationship in this one.
From what I've read, it gets better later on.
I see.
Without giving too many spoilers. But yeah, from what I've read, it gets better.
Yeah, because I'm like, they've never been like this with each other except for like when they first met.
Mhm.
but it kind of makes sense. But I'm like, they've been together for so long now. It's like, why are they like, why do they hate each other?
I feel like that's what it is on the surface, but behind closed doors, they actually have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
But I mean, because of course, throughout the series, you see Vegeta really does care about Bulma.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, it gets better.
So yeah, that's really the only new thing that we've watched this month.
And I say it's definitely worth the watch so far.
We'll have to watch some more anime this month.
Oh yeah, I have a couple other animes that I would like to watch, but I don't know if you would like them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'd have to watch that on my own.
We'll have to test. We'll have to see.
Sure.
Yeah. So question number 4 is something that made you proud this month.
I guess the biggest thing that has made me proud is I quit drinking and I'm actually sticking to it this time around. Definitely something to be proud of. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Next thing would be, I'm actually doing a lot better than I thought in our Taekwondo. So, and I can kind of see it in, Master Walker's face and, when Dr. Davis kind of is practicing with us, that type of thing. So definitely a few things to be proud of this month.
Yeah. And my thing that I'm proud of this month kind of mixes in with that one as well. I got my blue belt in February.
Yeah.
So that was very awesome and very nerve-wracking.
You are officially a senior belt.
Officially. Oh my god.
Yeah. That's where it starts. Technically, it starts with a blue stripe green belt, but blue belt is definitely senior level.
Yeah. So that's something that I am proud of. I'm also proud of the fact that I was able to do the first part of 4-step sparring almost within the 18 seconds.
Oh, I know.
Almost.
It was like a second and a half off.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I know I could do better.
Oh, yeah, it just takes practice.
Yeah.
And it also depends on your partner, too.
This is true. It also depends. Like, it's so weird, but you essentially both have to have the same brain when you're doing that with like the other person.
Absolutely. It's of course it's all part of the training. So
yeah.
But hey, that's great.
Yeah. So that was very cool. Very fun. The next question is, which games have you played?
Oh, I have 2. I have 2 that I am obsessed with at the moment. And it's Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Now, they are part of the Yakuza series. And I'm so mad at myself that I didn't start this earlier. But I really do enjoy them, mostly because the combat in, Like a Dragon Gaiden is, I thought it was a lot of fun. Like, you just get to play as Kiryu, and you just feel like a total badass the entire time that you're fighting people. Especially later on, in this little tournament area that they have, you get to fight some enemies that are pretty difficult, even on easy. And it's loads of fun, just leveling, doing all the things that you need to do. Now, Infinite Wealth, that one's a little bit different. That one's going to be more turn-based combat, but it's a lot of fun because Kasuga has some crazy ADHD going on, and it's just funny. You get to see the enemies kind of like change once you get into fighting, and there's still quite a bit of a challenge to it, not to mention all the different types of jobs you can have, all the little side quests. Like, there's even a little side area that's almost like Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to make money in the game, pretty much. So, and it's called Infinite Wealth, but God, is it such a pain to make money.
You cannot be infinitely wealthy in this game because it's impossible to make money.
But they are definitely worth a play. Like a Dragon Gaiden is a lot shorter. It's only about 5 chapters. Infinite Wealth is actually going to be a lot longer, at about 14 chapters. And I've already played, Dondoko Island, which is the Animal Crossing part of it, for about 2 or 3 days now. So there's a lot of content.
Yeah, there's a lot to go through. There's also kind of like a Pokemon aspect to it, where you like you you beat up enemies and then you can ask them to be part of like your essentially your
Sujimon.
your Sujimon crew,
Mhm.
and then you find other Sujimon trainers and you challenge them to see who has the best Sujimon.
Which is just some dudes
Yeah, it's
that
just some
decided
guy.
to follow you.
Yeah, it's so weird, but it's also really funny. Like, it has something for everyone, basically.
Yeah.
And I am also kind of in that with you. Like, I'm so mad I didn't learn about these games earlier. I haven't played them, but I'm really enjoying watching you play them.
Absolutely.
And it's like, these came out in the PS2 era. Like, how did I not know that these games existed?
Right? I mean, of course, I've seen the Yakuza games in passing, just like Walmart, GameStop, that type of thing, and I never paid it any mind. I'm like, oh, this just looks like your generic either fighting game or beat 'em up game, whatever the case was.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, especially with, like a Dragon Gaiden, that was just awesome. I was not expecting to have that much fun.
Yeah. That's fair. Thank you, PlayStation Plus.
Otherwise, we would have never found it. It
Yeah.
would just have been another title we just skipped over.
Yeah, exactly. So I played 2 games in February. The first one was the Walking Dead Telltale series.
Oh, yes.
I played the first not series, but whatever they call it. Episode, not episode.
I know it's not chapters. Is it a chapter? Yeah, it is episodes, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever they call it.
Whatever they call it. I played the first one like way back when it came out when I was 13.
God, I feel old.
I know, right? It's like, wow, I was in middle school when I first played this game. And I never kept up with it. So now that they had like the definitive edition, I was like, I want to play it because I want to know how it ends. So I finally played through the whole thing. I platinumed the game.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And
Emotional roller coaster.
it was an emotional roller coaster. It was so depressing. And it was like weird how it ended. Like it was kind of like a fever dream almost.
The ending.
Yeah. Well, would it be messed up of me to spoil like a almost 20-year-old game?
I think it's been long enough to where like either way, spoiler warning, skip ahead by like a minute or two or something.
But it doesn't make sense that Clementine lives at the end.
Yes. Mostly because like, of course they make it out to be, kind of like oh gosh, what was his name?
Like Lee.
Lee, kind of like his way of going out. But she ended up just living. Like she just got her leg chopped off and then she was fine.
Yeah. But it was like there's so much time in between like her getting bitten and her getting her leg chopped off to where it does not make sense.
Yeah, it was just a weird ending. But
yeah, it just ended in a weird way. But I'm glad that I played through it. I didn't like the Michonne one. That one was really boring.
Oh, okay.
And so was 400 Days. It's like all these random characters that were never part of the story
just randomly appear.
Yeah, and it's like, okay.
Like you didn't have enough time to develop like a type of relationship, if you could call it that, with the character that you're playing as.
Yeah, so that wasn't the best. But I think those also came out around the time that like Telltale was already going under.
Oh shoot, yeah.
So that's probably why they were really uninspired. But I'm glad that after all these years I finally finished it. And then the second game that I played was The Sims 2 Legacy Collection. And it's
yay.
so weird playing that game again. But it has so many more options than The Sims 4.
Really? That's surprising.
Like, I just feel like all of the DLC and stuff for Sims 2 was made so much better.
It's also the fact that the DLC probably wasn't $40 for a couple of packs of stuff. probably helps it feel better.
Yeah, because it comes with everything.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just like, I missed playing The Sims 2 because it works better. I don't like, how is a game that came out, in the early 2000s better than a game that came out, you know,
Later.
6 years ago?
Yeah. I actually have found that, a lot of newer games, a lot of the time they just focus on graphics. It's not even about the story or content or anything like that, or even just like making a profit, really.
Yeah, that's EA's biggest problem. Like, they're just there to make a profit, obviously, with how many packs there are and the fact that they're all $40 each.
I mean, you kind of take a look at, especially for like The Sims 4, you see like, the cats and dogs DLC for it. It is pretty massive, but for $40, it's a little steep.
Yeah.
Or you could see something else like the vampire one. You get one map and a few customization options, and the option to become a vampire. That's it. Like, in reality, a lot of the DLC for it isn't worth $40.
Yeah, and the fact that, just in my experience, I don't know if other people have experienced it, but whenever you make a vampire, they refuse to go inside when it's daytime, so they just immediately die and you can't do anything about it because they refuse to go inside their house.
You'd think the AI would be a lot better, especially considering it's a lot newer, but it's really not.
It's so bad. Like, I can't, like, I like making vampires because it's fun, but at the same time, it's like, if they're just going to immediately die, it makes no sense to make one.
What's the point? I feel like The Sims 2 AI was actually a lot better. I don't remember any of my Sims just laying there to die in The Sims 2.
Yeah.
Like, you had to go to some lengths to actually kill a Sim in Sims 2.
Like, removing the...
Yeah, like making a pool, having them swim, and then removing the ladder.
The ladder.
Because they can't get out, But
yeah, it's like, in The Sims 2, I have never experienced a moment where a Sim gets stuck in their bed and then pees themselves until they die.
Yeah. Like, The Sims 4, it's just so easy for them to just murder themselves.
It's so glitchy. It's bad. It's very bad. But yeah. And you can play it on the Steam Deck, which is even more fun.
Yes. Portable. Love it.
The next question is, what foods have you tried and loved this month?
So in February, I actually had quite an obsession with, it's more of a local restaurant, but Mampuku Ramen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so mad because we tried the birria ramen.
Oh, yes.
And we only had it once, and it was so good, and then they got rid of it.
I feel like it's more of a winter thing, though, so hopefully they'll bring it back for winter time.
I hope so.
So it was very, very good. It was spicy, but it was very good.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm hungry.
I know. I want a Pop-Tart.
Oh, dude, same.
Let's get Pop-Tarts after this.
Anyway.
This isn't really a food, but it's a consumable thing, so I just put it in the food category.
Sure.
A food that or a food thing, not, well, whatever. Anyways, it's the Starbucks gingerbread coffee K-Pods.
Oh, okay.
They're very good.
I'm going to have to try it.
It doesn't really taste like gingerbread per se, but it's like coffee, but with like a gingery note to it.
Okay.
So I think it's really good. And it's really good with almond milk creamer. I think it tastes better with almond milk creamer.
That sounds really good.
It is very good. Probably one of my new favorite coffee flavors.
Right on.
Yeah.
I have to try it.
Yes.
Damn, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm. They're very good. The next question is, what songs have you been listening to the most?
2. I don't know why my stuff is in 2s, but it is. They're both by System of a Down.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Bounce by System of a Down.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is Forest I don't know. Bounce is just funny. It's
Yes, it is very funny.
it's funny, but the music itself is dark,
Yeah.
but everything else is just funny.
Yeah.
Forest, that one is definitely more on the serious side, but I think two really good songs.
I agree. Two very good songs. My songs are also in twos.
Right on.
My two songs are Earthrise and Brave New World by Starset.
Yes. Love it. Especially, Brave New World. They actually curse in this one, which is...
I know. It was so funny because when Brave New World came out, everyone's like, oh my god, cursing in a Starset song? This is like so overwhelming. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, they're going unhinged, blah blah blah. And I'm like, you guys obviously don't know the lead singer then, because he's also the man that said that his old band Downplay was Breaking Benjamin but worse.
I mean, just listen to a few of those songs from Downplay.
Yeah.
He was definitely unhinged at that point.
Yeah, just listen to Downplay, or also, like, if you can find some of his old Vine videos, perfectly describes the type of person that he is.
Fair. So in reality, Brave New World is just, it's tame in comparison.
Yeah. And I mean, considering where the world is going right now and kind of the Starset lore is heading into the same place, it makes sense why people would be angry and cursing.
Yeah, I agree. But anyway.
The next question is, what have been your favorite products / accessories?
I'm having a hard time thinking of one right now.
Your new shoes.
Oh, that's right. One of my favorite products is actually going to be some shoes. They are the On brand, so it's a little bit more of an expensive brand, but it's the Cloud Clips. Cloud Eclipse. I just read the shoe. Cloud Eclipse. They're just super comfortable. They're more for road running and stuff like that, but they have a really thick outsole and they're just extremely comfortable. Other kinds of shoes actually make my feet go numb, but these ones actually keep me comfortable whether I'm standing, walking, running, whatever I'm doing. They're just extremely comfortable shoes. At the time that I purchased them, they were about $180, so not super expensive, but not very cheap for just a shoe that you might need for a day-to-day. But if you do have issues with comfort, I would recommend giving them a try.
Yeah, especially if you're somebody that walks a lot.
Yeah.
I have a couple of coworkers that have the same shoes, and they're like, these are the only shoes that I will ever wear religiously. They will not go to any other brand of shoe for walking.
I can kind of go between, this On brand currently and Brooks, because their road running shoes are actually very, very comfortable. Same thing, they are expensive, but depending on the type of shoe or what I'm doing, then I can actually go between.
Yeah. Some of my... Oh, do you have...
Oh, I don't have anything more to add.
Okay. Some of my favorites are same thing on the same spectrum. The trail glove shoes. I'm a weird person and I enjoy being barefoot all the time, no matter what's going on or what time of year it is. And I could never find shoes that could semi-replicate the feeling of being barefoot. And I think the trail glove shoes are probably the closest I can get. The sole is very thin, but it's also pretty form-fitting to your foot, so it kind of feels like you're not wearing anything. They are kind of harsh to break in at first, but once they're broken in, they're really comfortable.
just keep up with it.
Yeah.
Right
Just
on.
keep wearing them. They'll get more comfortable.
I'll have to give those a try because, I mean, I like to wear shoes at home. I know, psycho over here. But if I could have a shoe that makes me feel like I'm barefoot at home, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I just need something to, make sure I don't get some stickers stuck on my feet. Because that hurts.
Mm-hmm. And then also moisture wicking socks, because I have really sweaty feet, especially during winter time. I don't have this problem during the summer. Mm-hmm. I only have it in the winter. And my feet get so cold that they get numb. So finding moisture wicking socks was really, really nice.
Oh, I'm sure. I have to invest in that too, because, yeah. Except me, it's the opposite side of the spectrum. Like,
I don't know why my feet get sweaty in the winter. It probably just from heaters and stuff, I guess. Could be. Also because I wear really tight shoes most of the time, so it makes it easier for your feet to sweat.
Well, either way, as long as you find something that helps, that's all that matters.
Exactly. And the last question is, what did you learn?
Biggest thing for me is it's okay to say no sometimes. Because sometimes you get overwhelmed at work. There's just tasks getting thrown at you every 20 minutes. Just people just barking at you. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to say no sometimes. If you're just too overwhelmed, it's okay to say no.
Yeah, and I think that is a very important thing to learn and understand, especially in like the workplace environment that we have in the US. Like, I feel like everyone is so scared to say no to their boss in fear of like them getting fired or reprimanded or something. But it's insanely important to build boundaries at work and just in your day-to-day life. Like, you shouldn't have to overexhaust yourself for something that's not going to benefit you.
Absolutely. I know sometimes there's situations where, it's not necessarily that easy where you can just say no. But, at that point, it's just got to try to find a way out, try to find something better. It's hard. Everything's expensive today. It's hard to live today. Mm-hmm. But hopefully it gets better. That's all anybody can strive for. Just strive for better working conditions, better work-life balance, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, never be afraid to protect yourself from something that is just way too overwhelming for you, whether it be at work or just in your day-to-day life. Like, it's okay to tell people no.
Absolutely.
Some things that I've learned this month, going back to the books that I read, I got commissioned as a notary public, and there's a lot of things that you have to learn. So that's kind of like one of the things I learned this month is just how to notarize documents properly, the proper procedure for different types of notarizations, like things that you can't say, like in New Mexico, you can't claim that you're a notary public in Spanish, because in Mexico, notary public also means lawyer.
Oh, okay.
So because, a lot of people here either strictly speak Spanish or that's their primary language, might assume that you're also a lawyer.
And that could tangle things up a bit.
Yeah.
Then that's no fun.
Yeah. So that was a lot of stuff to learn. I also learned how to do budget reports this month.
That's fun.
And dear Lord, they are very tedious.
I'm sure.
So yeah, it was very interesting. Some interesting things to learn.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did a lot of learning this month. I'm like, how has my brain not exploded? Like, I memorized the last half of the characteristics of a winning attitude, learning how to do like all 3 budget reports I have to learn how to do, like just so much stuff. I'm like, my brain, how is it not dead?
It's because you have a very good smarticle particle.
I don't know how I have a good smarticle particle, because isn't it like after 25 your brain starts like declining or something? Like it makes it less easier for you to learn stuff.
I think that would just all depend. Technically, your brain has the capacity to make new connections no matter how old you are.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the limit is like 300 years. If we're talking about technically, but it just becomes harder after you start aging.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quote me on that, though. I'm not a professional by any means.
I'm not a professional. Brain professional.
Yes, brain professional.
Brain professional. But yeah, that was all the questions.
Right on.
Awesome. So let us know if you guys want us to still do this for every month. It's mostly just for like suggestions and learning more about what we do and things like that.
Yeah. And you could also have a suggestion like, hey, what were your favorite blank for this month? Yeah. Or, whatever the case. Can you incorporate this? That's fine. Love feedback. We'll always consider it.
Of course. So thank you again for listening/watching, and we will see you again next week.